Yo, what is going on, my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned with yet another JJK Phantom Parade video. Oh my goodness, the energy difference is night and day when I actually have sufficient amounts of sleep. But you guys must have thought that we were done with recollection bits, but we are nowhere near. Wait, what? Recollection bits? Tier list. You must have thought we were done with tier list, but we still have the recollection bit tier list to talk about, going over what recollection bits does the dead man actually use the most. And I can tell you that, like, I have 15 listed out here. I'm looking at this and I'm like, bro, I don't even use 15 of these, bro. But I'm still gonna try to do my best to show you guys just some really good general use recollection bits, just so you know what you should dump the resources into, because the materials to upgrade your recollection bits low-key kinda are kinda expensive to grind. I think so. Like, I think the amount of experience that you use to get the materials really don't be hitting on much. And yeah, so I mean, like, plus, like I said, man, you can only have 5 units on a team at a time, and 4 of those units are in the front line. So, like, most of the time you're really focused on 4 recollection bits at a time, if that makes sense. Like, usually you have your 4 frontline characters, and either one of them is supposed to die or one of them is not, or none of them are supposed to die. And then at that point, you know, you're supposed to be doing the whole mission with the frontline 4, or one of them has a recollection pit that is literally assisting them in getting killed, and then they're out of there. But yeah, this time, instead of going from bottom to top, because I can't even think, like, for the characters, there's so little of the characters, I can kind of like think, you know, from my way backwards, like from 10 all the way up to 1, because I can think like, yo, who's really bad? I can think about the characters like, yo, who's absolutely the worst? Then think like, okay, who's decent? And then work my way up to like, okay, who's the best? Who do I use all the time, right? I can think in that way. These, though, you kind of just throw them on depending on what the guide video has, or dependent on what, literally just what you already know, what you need, what you're used to. But if you guys have been enjoying these tier list videos, man, go down below and leave a like, because I have been loving these, dude. They've just been so much fun to just really talk about and voice my opinions on some of these recollection bits, and kind of just give some of my insights to the player base, I guess, right? Because everybody does not know everything that they're doing, even though we've been playing for 272 days now, I think 273 after daily reset. But even still, yeah, hopefully it's just helpful to y'all. And if you guys do enjoy these videos, you can go down below, you can leave a like, you can comment, you can hit the notification bell. You can subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the dead man decides to glide. And you can also comment down below and let me know what you want to know. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so fixated on soccer right now, man. I am so ready to go play. But we're going to go ahead and get right into the tier list. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and just say that my #1 rec bit is probably just Unity from top to bottom. Because, like, this recollection bit is quite literally just used every freaking where. I guess I could open up the recollection bit pages on the website, on the wiki, and just look at them as I'm going through them, because most of these I know they're like active effect, but a lot of them I don't know they're passive effects, because their passive effects just kind of like happen during battle. Cool. The active effects are the ones that I'm actually like using though. Now, guys, these are obviously not all the recollection bits in the game. The list that I have right there is only like 41. There's like, oh my gosh, so many recollection bits. There's at least one recollection bit in the game for every single character. Then you have to think about the fact that they gave us a bunch of free-to-play ones in the shop when the game started. We get free-to-play ones all the time. Sometimes recollection bits literally force characters to rerun just so they can have a banner. Like, we have much more than 41 recollection bits, but I just grabbed a decent amount of recollection bits. If you guys saw that I'm missing a recollection bit that you think is absolutely just game breaking in my list, then definitely please do go down in the comments and let me know. But let's see, the passive skill got changed on this. I actually didn't even know that they've been doing adjustments on recollection bits. But what Unity from top to bottom does is that whenever a command or ultimate skill is activated, it increases all allies' ultimate skill gauge charge rate by 30% for 2 turns. And then once it's at limit break 3, it actually is a 35% boost to ultimate charge rate instead of 30%. And then also, if the selected enemy is in break status when attacking, fill his own ultimate gauge by 200. Now this has been adjusted to, it's the same thing, but it only happens 1 time. Okay, so it got nerfed, but even still, like I said, I don't even be knowing about the passive effects. So I mean, like, this is low-key secretly been helping me, and I didn't even know, because I've definitely attacked the enemy in break status 1 billion different times and gotten a really big jump and thought that the jump was just the overall skill gauge rate going up really high, but in all reality, it was really just that 200 ultimate gauge jump from hitting an enemy who was broken. But also, man, this just helps you to rush the entire team's ultimates like fully through. Like, there's not really much to say, but it's just like you always need your ultimate. You don't always need your ultimates in this game, but low key, domains became a very integral mechanic in this game very quickly when they started introducing really good domain characters. So it does seem like you are kind of like attempting to rush your ultimate really fast. Most of the time is like what you're doing in most of these missions. So Unity from top to bottom is just going to take the top spot, because I mean, like, it gives really good ultimate charge rate. It's really good on your support characters. Only has a 6-turn cooldown. Helps so monumentally with getting your ultimates faster. So yeah, this is my number one. Remember, this is all personal. What would number 2 be, chat? Let's take a look back down here in Reco bit lane. Oh, I think I know what 2 and 3 is for me, probably. Just following the tails of the first one for filling up ultimate gauge faster, I'm going to go ahead and just take In Excellent Shape and Rest for the Adults. Now, like I said, most of the time, you are literally just trying to rush a character's domain and just pop their domain for the effects that it has, you know, whether you're talking about Sukuna, whether you're talking about Gojo, whether you're talking about Incomplete Domain Megumi, whether you're talking about Hanami, whether you're talking about Jogo, like, all their domains just hit, bro. All of them are really fire, and all of them you want to work towards. I put this bit over this bit because this bit, while it does give you this bit does heal you along with giving you ultimate gauge, but also this recollection bit just gives you more ultimate gauge outright, so it helps you to build your ultimate much faster. And it also is free to play too, so you can max it out and get it 5-star very easily. Let's go over to the wiki and look over the effects as well. So this one right here is Rest for the Adults, and this one is going to provide whenever you do your command skill or ultimate skill, it's going to recover HP by 25% and then give you 200 ultimate gauge, or it's going to recover your HP by 30% and give you 250 ultimate gauge. And this one restarts after 5 turns actually, which is really good actually. Then at the start of the 4th turn from the battle, increases all allies damage dealt by 25% for 3 turns. Really good. But let's take a look at the what was the other one called? In Excellent Shape. So what this one is going to be doing for you is at the start of each wave, it decreases on taijutsu damage received by 25% for 3 turns. So this I did not even know, but man, that is crazy, bro. Like, at the start of each wave, not even at the start of the fight, each wave you get this. Damn, if you clear a wave in 3 turns, bro, you had damage reduction the whole time. That's kind of crazy. I did not know that shit. But also, literally, this one just gives you a higher fill on your ultimate gauge at base, right? But this one's free to play, so you can get it maxed out like easier. So at base, it gives you 260 as opposed to the other one's 250 at, you know, limit break 3, and then at limit break 3 this one gives you 360. So this one gives you far more ultimate gauge. This one also just has 1 less turn of cooldown. This one is also free to play, and it also gives you Jujutsu and Taijutsu and HP as a stat. Some of these stats right here that the recollection bits give you are actually only Jujutsu or Taijutsu with the HP. So very nice that this also triples or quadruples. How many good things have I said about this page already? The quintuples as a page that also gives you extra stats. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one or next two. Who knows? Like, this is really off top. This is out of all the tier lists that I've had, guys. I preloaded, or not preloaded those tier lists, but like I just went ahead and looked at all the characters in the list and went ahead and just kind of organized them in a way that I saw fit, so that this way I could look at it. And then I did some research, right? And obviously looked up videos on units that I didn't use, and maybe I used the units a few more times to really just get a last little feel for them. Then I literally was going through the tier list and just looking at my prior tier list and then just making changes as I saw fit, right? But this one, there's just so many recollection bits. I'll be honest, I really did not feel like sitting through all that information and looking up all that information when I was trying to get prepped up for this list for real. So I kind of just put all the pictures in the list and then I just kind of left it where it was. So these are all really just random off top, like no premeditated thoughts about these. So let's go ahead and go to number 4 and figure out what it is, honestly. For number 4, I'd probably go Imaginary Youth. Dude, I love support recollection bit. Like, I feel like your recollection bits are like the hidden support heroes of your team, right? Like, I feel like, yes, you do have characters that support your team, obviously, but I feel like recollection bits are that real tier of support, you know, and they do so much for you in the background, man. Like I said over here, like, dude, I'm always making use of the active effects. I'm never even paying attention to the passive effects, but the passive effects are obviously still helping me out more than I'm realizing. So let's go over and look at Imaginary Youth. I will go ahead and say the only reason why I love Imaginary Youth is just because it gives you extra cursed energy, which is really nice for characters like you know, Yellow Yaga or Gakuganji, who have really good debuff skills, but they cost more than 20 cursed energy, right? This allows you to start spamming the skills back to back from the start without having to waste a turn of using your regular skill and try to get up cursed energy. But this one, unfortunately, is not free to play. It actually took me a very long time to get this recollection bit, but man, once I got it, boy, I felt the difference. At limit break, or at no limit break, when command skill or ultimate skill is activated, it recovers 15 cursed energy, just right there, 4-turn cooldown, like in excellent shape. Then when command skill or ultimate skill is activated, it recovers 20 cursed energy, as long as you have it limit break 3. Then the passive skill, at the start of the 6th turn from the start of the battle, increases all enemies Jujutsu damage received by 10% 2 times, and if all enemies afflicted by continuous Jujutsu damage poison status, increases the enemy's Jujutsu damage received by 20% for 2 times. Now, this doesn't say like, it says one. It says 2 times. Okay, my bad. I thought it said turns. It just says times. So that means it can happen up to twice these different effects of Jujutsu damage received increase. But it doesn't say that they go away in a certain number of turns. So maybe it's permanent once it gets there. But also, it's from the 6th turn of battle. I mean, there are some fights that are going to be 6 turns long. I feel like if you're using Gakuganji, which is usually the character I'm using this page on, I feel like if you're using Gakuganji, you're typically just setting up a nuke anyway, and you typically don't make it to the turn 6 period. And since it's on Gakuganji, you're never really giving anybody continuous damage poison, so you never get to really benefit from the extra 20% damage. But hey, maybe this could get more use with this man Junpei now. Oh, dude, I just thought about it, because we could use this turn 1 with Junpei, use his attack, you know, attack, evasion, and team damage reduction, and self damage reduction, and team stat buff, you know? Now we can put this on Yuta and try to make it work that way. And guys, this is just making me think of another really interesting video that I think lined up later today. But yeah, for sure, just hang with me on this recollection bit. I really do like it. I'm probably gonna reference it in the next video as well. But let's go ahead and move on to number 5. All right, guys, so I grabbed the next 3 because like I really am just kind of like looking and studying and just trying to collect my thoughts on these recollection bits as I am selecting them. So the next 3 that we have is going to be, oh, I actually don't know what this recollection bit is called. I've never, a wish from the future, a wish from the past, maybe. This one is definitely called Mutual Trust, and then this one I do not know the name, but we'll pull them up real quick and elaborate. Oh, dude, sick. This was called a wish from the past. The dead man really got him, huh? So basically, this recollection bit is just a healing recollection bit. It gives you 30% to all allies HP. It has an 8-turn cooldown, which does suck. It'd be much nicer if it was a 6-turn cooldown, but it is a healing card, so I can understand that. It does give you all 3 stats, which is a very nice touch. Then also, when commander ultimate skill is activated, it recovers all allies HP by 35% instead of 30% if you have it limit break 3. And then if you have it limit break 1, which means you just have 1 dupe, at the start of battle, decreases all allies damage received by 10% for 4 turns. So just a really good recollection bit for your supporters. Also just really good given the extra damage reduction at the start of battle, but it is only 10%. Even though it is for 4 turns, it is only 10%. So I feel like you're not really gonna feel it that much, but I mean, it is a very big hill nonetheless, very excellent hill. Man, one of the ways that I like to see them upgrade this is by turning that cooldown down to at least 6, man. 8 is crazy long. But I feel like 6 is just a very good like middling number for recollection bit cooldown resets, whatever. 6 is a very fair number. I think it's a very long time to wait, but also not too long. It still makes sense. Then the next bit that we had was Mutual Trust, one of the best defensive ones in the game. It gives all allies a 35% damage received, or just decreased all allies damage received by 35% if you have it limit break 3. If not limit break 3, is still 30% damage received reduction to all allies, which is really good. Again, another 8-turner, which is gonna deduct some points for it. But also at the start of the battle, recovers all allies cursed energy by 10 is really, really good. And I didn't even know that that was an effect. So I've been going into fights with this page sometimes, and I've been having an extra 10 cursed energy to work with, and haven't even been noticing because I still play the way that I typically would play. But damn, that makes this a little bit better in my opinion because of that. I think I'm actually going to maybe switch these two. That's how I'm feeling right now just after reading their stuff. But then let's look over this. So the reason why I have this one on the tier list, yes, no jujutsu, just physical technique, just HP, sure, cool, whatever, complain. Easiest taunt recollection bit in the game. If you have to do a comp where you need a character to die in the front line for a character to come out in the back line, this recollection bit will be the simplest, driest, cookie cutter way to do that. Quite literally, come into the battle, because if you have to look up a guide video and you're paying attention. So one thing that I've learned is watching guide videos is really tedious, because if there's multiple enemies, you got to pay attention to every single, like, okay, this person's hitting this person and this person's hitting this person this turn and this person's hitting this person this turn, or literally you will end up with turns at the end of the event where, like, okay, this enemy is dead much sooner, yes, but now this enemy's still alive and this enemy may have been harder to deal with. So it's like you got to pay attention to all that little stuff. This recollection bit, really nice, because you ain't got to pay. Like, if this recollection bit is one of the ones you see in your guide video when you're looking up your guide video or whatever, or you find a guide where you have to kill the character in the front line and then get to the back line, this recollection bit is going to make that the easiest, because you're going to hop into the battle and not think about it. I'm not going to think about it. Other recollection bits have other effects on them, yes, that have the taunt as well, and they have passives to them. But this is the freest, easiest, most brain dead taunt you will get. You do not have to think about it, and it's for 2 turns at base. Some of the other ones are 1 turn, you have to upgrade it to 2 turns. This one, you upgrade it, it gets to 3 turns, and this one's a rare recollection bit, so you will certainly have it A3 at the very least. A5 isn't even necessary. All you're getting is an extra jujutsu stat. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Go ahead and A5 it if you want to. Defense isn't a stat in this game, so it's not like you're making the character any tankier. Now that I think about it, is that why defense is not a stat in this game? Because you can make the characters as strong as you want, but some of them need to be sacrifices, so they want you to kill off some of them sometimes in some missions. Maybe that was what they had intended for. But we're going to go back to the list and try to figure out who we think is the next few. All right, guys, so I just grabbed the rest of the list, and honestly, I'm going to just compose it here. I'm gonna put it together, I'm gonna take a look at it, and then we're really just gonna divulge and see, like, how, because like I said, bro, no pre-planning to this, so I am just at a loss right now, just trying to figure out the rest of these, you know, recollection bits. So I'm gonna put these in order, and then the rest of the video is just gonna be me, yeah, because, like, bro, I know how I use these recollection bits. Explaining them isn't really messing me up or anything, but it's just like explaining them is giving me extra little layers of reasoning that I did not think of before. So we got Archer Trainer with Noritoshi combo. Very big buff, very big damage boost to your entire team. Shoko bit, a healing bit. Pride, a bit that gives characters a certain amount of damage percent boost and then can be stacked on itself again for like 1 turn because of the way the cooldown works. Non-standard, 90% extra jujutsu damage when you do a ultimate. Like-minded sisters, 90% extra taijutsu damage when you do an ultimate. 90 or 95, one of the two. Let's rescue Satoru Gojo. 45% boost to attack or jujutsu and taijutsu. Let's see. Stat. Yes, 45%. You can for 2 turns as well, and then also if your own ultimate gauge is filled at the start of the turn, increases own damage up by 25%. That one, see, that one I have no experience with, but that one's actually really fucking excellent, and that one sounds really similar actually to. Actually, that doesn't sound similar to any of the ones up here. I'm thinking of another one, but. I'm kind of down to bump this up here and put it like maybe like, because these are all ones that help support pushing the ultimate faster. I'd be down to bump this Rest for the Adults one down a little bit, because I do feel like there is a little bit of a gap between Rest for the Adults and Excellent Shape, just because of how much extra curse energy and Excellent Shape gives you. Just bare none stock standard, and it is also a free-to-play bit, so I will put the Gojo one up here. This one is really crazy. This one is like Winter: A New Beginning from Nanami, but like but way better. Not Nanami, from Utah, but like way better, because I think this buff lasts for 2 turns instead of 1 turn, and it is a higher buff as well, and even the passive effect is just better. I'm pretty sure. This one, there's one, the Game Center one is actually damn near exactly the same as this one right here. So low key, I'm gonna take this one out of the list, I believe, and put Game Center there instead, and then I'm even going to increase Game Center because it is really freaking strong. So we're gonna put you down here and then you down here and put Game Center right there. So basically what I said about the other one, this one is 30% damage reduction to all allies, or 35% reduction to all allies, and then recovers 10 cursed energy for all allies at the start of the battle. Yeah, let's look at this one from Shoko's banner. This one's crazy. Regular Game Center, I think, is a customary task. Game Center, I think it's regular Game Center is what this is called. This one literally does 35% damage reduction to all allies for 1 turn, or 40% instead, so automatically 5% better. Has a better cooldown as well by 1 turn, and if own cursed energy is 20 or below at the start of the turn, recovers own cursed energy by 10 up to 3 times. So instead of giving everybody 10 cursed energy at the start of the battle, you give yourself 10 cursed energy a total of 3 different times in the battle when you could really need it. Who knows? And I'm pretty sure Mutual Trust was an 8-turn cooldown. I'm gonna go back just to double check. Yeah, Mutual Trust is an 8-turn cooldown, and also their damage reduction is only for 1 turn as well. So this one just overall clears all around, and also this one provides stats to your character. The HP and the Jujutsu is better. The Taijutsu is not better, but honestly the Taijutsu is only worse by like 5%. So like this page all around clears Mutual Trust. Not to say that Mutual Trust is a bad page, it's still a very good page. I'll put Mutual Trust. So I'm gonna put this page like kind of like, I'm gonna tie these two together right here. This one's like a premium option, this one's like a free to play option. And honestly, I guess I should kind of do that with these two right here. I'll do that with these two right here. How about that? These two are weird asterisk kind of like cases, because this one's a free to play option, which makes it better. This one's the premium option, which, I mean, they're similar, but like, nah, I don't gotta do this. This one's still not as good. These two are damn near the same thing. This one just has better damage reduction for real, but this one is still better for free to plays just because it's on the standard banner. It's much easier to get. But these are like basically the same thing. That's why I want to leave them on the same spot. This is the only one I'm going to do this with, Chad, I promise. I'm gonna leave these on the same spot just because they're basically the same thing. But just know that Shoko's, oh my god, it clears. It 1,000,000% clears versus this one right here. Do I want to switch any of this down right here? I like Imaginary Youth better than Rest for the Adult. Like, Rest for the Adults, I use it, but it's like I only use it when this one is already occupied by somebody else. If I have this one available and I'm just trying to work on one domain the entire battle, I'm using this one all the time. This one literally clears the Rest for the Adults one just by so much, and it's free to play. Like, you already just had it, right? Everybody just already had it. I am comfortable with the top 5 right now. I'm pretty sure I like the top 5 where they are. Yes, I'll put the healing bit right here because healing is very important, and again, like I said, bro, I do not be using this Gojo bit as much if I can use this one, because this one just provides so much more ultimate. Okay, let's come back down here and take a look at who number 9 is gonna be. Ooh, some of these are really fucking good. So these are really good and really impactful. I didn't mean to do that one right there. So Kamo definitely beats this. Let's see, how do we feel? Kamo definitely gets right there. I mean, Kamo's bit is really freaking good, but I like I said, I'm comfortable with the top 5. I think even the top 6 is somewhere I think I'm ready to keep that like static locked in. Let's go here maybe. Pride, I mean, Pride definitely has slowed down over the year, but I mean, it's still a good recollection bit nonetheless. You still use it most of the time. It doesn't really matter. This one I'm gonna put over Pride just because I do like that. I was gonna say I take pride in that one tap damage really a lot. And these two are gonna go kind of like in a similar place because these two are basically the same except for they have different passive effects. One of them starts you off with an extra 200 cursed energy, I believe. One of them gives you 200 cursed energy every time you do a crit. So honestly, the one that gives you 200 cursed energy every time you do a crit is way better because you have more chances of proccing that 200%. So let's go maybe like right here. Yeah, I'll go right there because archery training with Noritoshi Kamo has not been around as long as Like-Minded Sisters. Like-Minded Sisters still has his use, has his proof to this day, but I can put Kamo right below it, that right there. Maybe put this over it and then put you over it as well. And then you right there. I'm more comfortable with this, yes. Unity from top to bottom because you literally use it. If you are building a team, Unity from top to bottom is basically a character at this point. It's a necessity character you need on your team, even though it's not a fucking character. That's how much you're using Unity from top to bottom. This one I just use everywhere because I'm always rushing a domain. This one just has a really stupid freaking buff. that buff is insane. This one just has really good damage reduction, and these two are basically the same thing, except for this one's 5% better. This one's literally just better, but this one, I'm putting them in the same spot because they practically do the same exact thing, except for this one's just all around an upgraded version. They definitely looked at this recollection bit again for the inspiration for this one. Like, look at them side by side, bro, you just know it. This one, again, I really like the extra curse energy that I'm getting, and I like the fact that, you know, if the fight does end up being really long, then I do have that extra debuff in there. This one right here, healing is always going to be important. Just always want to make sure your team is topped up. You can't leave it all to Shoko. Sometimes it's got to be Shoko and the recollection bits. You know what I'm saying? This one right here is just another really good one for. I'd say this one's pretty high still for being as out of date as it is, like beginning of the game type of stuff. But I mean, like, it still matches up with these for like rate of how fast it could boost your ultimate gauge, and that's why it still has so much relevance. So this one's going to stay right here. This one just gives 20% or I think 25% boost to all allies, and maybe it boosts the break damage. I'm not 100% sure, but just another really good option for support units. Really makes your team a lot stronger. This one's going to be another good option for your DPS units, and the reason why this one had lost the edge over this one is because this one does not give you 200 ultimate every time you crit, whereas this one does. This one just gives you an initial ultimate jump at the start of the battle, which is not bad, but I mean, I'd like to be able to consistently gain more pride, because like I said, you can stack that buff on it 2 times at most, because it is a 6-turn cooldown recollection bit, and the buff only lasts for 7 turns, I'm pretty sure. But even still, you can make some nutty numbers pop out with this recollection bit. Rest of the adults just does not perform to the degree that an excellent shape does for me, because typically I'm more worried about the ultimate than the HP, and you know, at the point that my HP is lower, I'm not really worried about rushing my ultimate. I'm more, unless the character whose ultimate I'm rushing is Shoko. But I mean, like, I'm typically wearing this on a domain character, so that is why it is all the way down here. But it is still a good recollection bit nonetheless. And then again, easiest stock style, most brain dead taunt recollection bit you will ever see in the game. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and put it down here because it's gonna go the lowest. Like, it's just so easy for a taunt. This one's gonna go right here because it is a no. This one's gonna go right here actually because it is specifically for Gojo. Like, it's a good recollection bit, yes, but it is specifically for Gojo. Like, when I read this recollection bit, I feel like it is specifically for Gojo. This recollection bit is extremely freaking good for Gojo, though. It makes him an absolute menace, but at the same time, since it is just for him, since it is designed to work just for him, it can work for other green characters, but since it's designed to work just for him, I'm gonna have to leave it pretty low on the list, because every single other recollection bit that I'm looking at right now, all of these are general. All of these I'll put on any character depending on what my team situation is. But this recollection bit, most of the time I'm just thinking like, well, damn, do I want to use this if I'm not using Gojo? I don't know. And like I said, I'm not saying that you cannot use it in different situations, but it still is just kind of like whatever. We're gonna put these 2 in here. So I'll put the Shoko recollection bit in here because it is just another really good healing recollection bit, but this one is a lot newer, and even though it is on the standard banner, a lot less people are gonna have that one as opposed to this one, but I still do take a lot of pride in healing, and healing is finding its footing in this game just because of how big the HP pools are, how much, you know, better the units are becoming, things like that, right? Then also I put this one right here because this one is just like a really good free damage boost for a free-to-play recollection bit, and I'm putting it up here also. It is a really good damage boost for a free-to-play recollection bit. It's 65% boost to Jujutsu damage, I believe so. Let's see. No, actually, this one's 45% boost to Taijutsu and Jujutsu stat for 1 turn, but it only has a 6-turn cooldown, and at the start of each turn, if your own cursed energy is 50 or above, increases own damage up by 20% for 1 turn. So, literally, you have 50%. I'm sorry, you have 50 cursed energy or above, and you use this recollection bit. You're literally increasing your damage dealt by 20%, and then your Jujutsu and Taijutsu by 45% for that turn. You can get a really big damage turn out. And since it's Jujutsu and Taijutsu, actually, this one's just a 1-turn version of this one right here, which is crazy enough to say, but still, this one's free to play. That's why this one's so freaking crazy. Like, boosting your Jujutsu and Taijutsu for free, bro. Like, I don't know. Do I want to move it up even? Because Jogo is free to play. This one's so old, it's basically free to play. This one's a part of the banner. Like, all these are so old, they're basically free to play. Except for Imaginary Youth. I can still see people struggling to get that one. This one's free to play too. This one's not free to play. You know what? I'll leave it where it is. I'm pretty comfortable with this list right here, actually. Is there anything that I could take off? Or is there any, could I take this off for anything else on the list here? Let's see. Oh, dude, you know what? Boom. Perfect synchronization. 35% boost to everybody's damage whenever you're using the ultimate. It's hitting the bottom of the list because yes, it does require you to use your ultimate to use it, but hey bro, when you get that ultimate, you get that extra 35% damage dealt, you gonna be enjoying it. And also this one fills your ultimate gauge by 200 at the start of the battle, your own ultimate gauge. So literally building you to your ultimate really fast, and then you're able to pop your ultimate with this recollection bit and give everybody 35% extra damage dealt. I think this recollection bit may be the strongest damage dealt boost for your entire team out of all the recollection bits, and it's only an SR, so it's very easy to acquire, very easy to 5-star. But that is my thoughts on recollection bits. Honestly, I'm pretty, like I said, I'm pretty comfortable with this tier list. Don't really need to change it around too much, guys. How crazy is it that I was not in presentation mode this whole time? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but still, this is my tier list. If I had to give a few honorable mentions though, this one didn't have the honorable mention on the tier list just because, like, you know what, I'll add it real quick and then I'll put them up there so you can see a visual representation. All right, guys, so a few other honorable mentions we have is, let's see, boom, boom. All right, guys, a few of the honorable mentions that I have here is curse me, or you can't even curse me in death, I think is this one, but with Gato and Gojo looking at each other. So since I didn't really go through like every single recollection bit, like, you know, break it down like bit by bit, piece by piece, I guess I can go through all my honorable mentions here because these are just like the rest of the recollection bits that I had on the list that I definitely do use, but I just couldn't consider putting them in the list. This recollection bit is basically non-standard, but for blue units only, but you can get an extra little bit of damage because you get 90% damage dealt extra for if you're doing blue damage, but then you at the start of the 7th turn you can increase your own Jujutsu stat by 10% as well. So you can get, I think actually non-standard increases your Jujutsu stat by 90% or 95% is what it actually is, but this one's for 2 turns actually, so that's really freaking good. And it only has a 6-turn cooldown. I didn't realize it was for 2 turns though. So you have the turn and then the turn afterwards, but you do have to use it on your ultimate. So you do, which kind of sucks because the turn after your ultimate, you can only use the melee attack, and then afterwards you can do the laceration attacks again. It'd be really nice if you could use the, like, it'd be nice if this was for 3 turns so that you could use at least one laceration ability whenever you finally do use your ultimate and get this buff going. But I mean, hey bro, I won't complain. It's only honorable mention anyway. It could be improved in the future. How they plan to improve recollection bits, I don't know, or maybe I do know, but we're gonna get to that. We're gonna divulge that point later on. Other honorable mention is you're late. This one I'm pretty sure is just, yeah, this one's literally just like a cursed energy, a Jujutsu stat booster, but also recovers cursed energy as well, and then increases on Jujutsu stat by 15% at the start of the battle. So these ones sometimes have like really weird ways where they're giving you extra stats, but like they're spreading it out amongst the actual recollection bits itself. But like all the recollection bits from the JJK Zero event, I'm pretty sure are pretty freaking solid. So that's why I just went ahead and included all of them, because I'm just like, yo, I know that if I ever really needed to, I would go and use one of those in a heartbeat for real. Yeah, nice job. This was pretty good. This one gives all allies Jujutsu stat by 20% for 6 turns, which is crazy. It has a 5-turn cooldown, so you could stack it low key. And it also gives at the start of the battle, fills all allies ultimate gauge by 200. Oh, that's dumb. Yeah, no, this one's really crazy actually. This one, since I'm still not going to move it onto the list though, because it's just a static 200 ultimate gauge fill rate, and then like there is no extra ultimate gauge manipulation afterwards. I know y'all are probably thinking like, oh look, Deadman ultimate gauge, you know, boosting, put it on the tier list. Like, stationary, there is a very static buff to the ultimate gauge, and it's at the start of the battle. You know, that doesn't really say anything much for after you've used your first ultimate cycle, which by that I mean like you've used your first cycle of ultimates and now you're working your way to the next one. This doesn't help you build to the next set of ultimates. Let's go to the next page. The 2 strongest increases on Jujutsu stat by 65%, and then at the start of battle increases on ultimate gauge charge rate by 20%. Again, the JJK Zero pages are all just really good like damage dealing pages for the most part, and then they have extra capabilities like, you know, extra ultimate gauge charge rate, or, you know, just random little extra active or passive effects. I'm sorry guys, I'm I am fading a bit here talking about these recollection bits for sure. And then my last honorable mention is for now Acola. I remember I used to think this recollection bit was the bee's knees. Am I showing my age with that? The bee's knees when it first came out. But ultimate skill only increases own damage dealt by 90% for 1 turn, 1 time, effective for yellow types. So this is basically Sukuna's, but except for not 2 turns, and it says 1 time on it. And it's for yellow, obviously, instead of blue. And then at the start of the turn, if own ultimate gauge is full, increases own break damage by 20% for 1 turn. So I do not like the page for this reason right here, or I love this recollection bit, but this one reason right here does kind of make me hesitant, because sometimes I am loading up towards an ultimate to set up for a big turn, and just because I have my ultimate does not mean I am trying to let it all go immediately. So then I'm just getting a useless 20% break damage increase for 1 turn that I'm not going to fully utilize because I'm not using my strongest skill with it, but it still does get used in some sense, so I guess it's not that bad. But guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this made sense for you. Oh, dude, where did my tier list go? Did I close the tier list? Chat! Okay, never mind, chat. I did not close the tier list. I was just tweaking. But yeah, this is my thoughts on the tier list, man. This is what I'm thinking that recollection bits are looking like. Are there any more last minute honorable mentions that I can see in here before any other recollection bits that are not in this list right now? Guys, I'm not saying that it's a bad recollection bit. I quite literally just did not like, bro, I know this one right here with Toji and the dude who sets up his job is a brand new recollection bit, but I have quite literally not read it, so I don't know what it does. So it's just like, but these, I've looked at all these at some point, and you know, I've used all these at some point, or I've seen them used at some point, and all these recollection bits, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with these solidly put in their place. But if you guys did enjoy the video, you can go down below, you can leave a like, you can hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the Deadman decides to go out, and you can also comment down below and let me know what you want to know. But your boy DeadmanVince is gonna get out of here because I think my breakfast is arriving. Peace. The Deadman loves you.